So the Indianapolis Colts just pulled off a huge win against division rival the Tennessee Titans. It definitely was a win that they really felt like they probably had to win, and so it was a good win for them. I think through a couple of weeks, it was interesting to see, well, could the Colts still be competitive without Andrew Luck? Could they be competitive with Jacoby Brissett? And through 2 weeks, the answer is a resounding yes. I mean, taking the Chargers to overtime, where they could have won if it wasn't for a couple of Adam Vinatieri missed field goals. And then in this game, they also were able to get a victory over a team that many people, myself included, predicted winning that division. And so it was a team victory where there was plenty of players that I could talk about for how well they played, but I'll make this video on Darius Leonard. I thought he had a very good game, and so let's just jump into it. One of the things that makes a linebacker so important is that you're going to be a part of the play no matter what, whether it's going to be a passing play or a rushing play, you're going to have some value there. And so first, let's start things off with how he did in the running game, because this guy is a good run stopper, and we'll start things off with this play. What Tennessee is going to do here is they're going to have their right guard and also their center double team that Indianapolis Colt right over there, and then their right tackle will actually move up to block a linebacker. So in case you're wondering who's going to be blocking the edge rusher on the right side of the screen, well, they have a plan for that as well. They're going to pull their tight end over there, and the reason why they're doing this is because this can actually create some better angles for you. You're giving your tight end a running start, and he's going to have a better angle to block that edge rusher, whereas if you were to just have the tight end lined up on the right side of the screen and block him straight up, it'd be a more difficult block for him. It's just an angles thing. It's an easier angle to make a block right there. But of course, the disadvantage is this takes a little bit longer to develop just because you do have to wait for the tight end to get over there. So it takes a little bit longer for something like this to happen. And part of the reason that's key is because when you have a guy like Darius Leonard, he's going to sniff this play out pretty quickly, and he can potentially figure out where he needs to go. I mean, watch what he's going to do right when this ball is snapped. Watch how quickly he gets into that gap, and now, I mean, he's in perfect position to make a tackle. Just in that split second, he realized what's going on, and that's what I like about Leonard. Positioning is everything as a linebacker, and he is just always in perfect position, and he always figures out where he has to be so quickly. Even at a young age, he's a really smart player. In fairness, I'm pretty sure someone who was a part of that double team earlier in the play was supposed to get off their double team and then move up to block Leonard, and that just didn't work out. So he kind of got a little lucky in that sense. But at the same time, what do I always say? What do good football players do? They find ways to take advantage of their opportunities given to you. You're going to have some lucky plays go your way. But some players don't take advantage of those lucky breaks. Some players do, and that's the difference between good players and great players. So Leonard being able to make that tackle after getting in perfect position, I mean, that's kind of how he was able to do that, by making a good read on that play. That's what makes him such an effective player. It's the fact that he can make those quick decisions. You know, he can just instantly, the second the ball is snapped, he knows where the ball is going, he knows where the play is going, and he's able to figure out a way to have a positive impact on the play. He's a nightmare as a quarterback because he simply just seemingly can't get fooled. No matter what you do, he always knows what's going on and knows where he has to be. Like this one's another good example, where it's going to be a run to the right side of the screen, and for Leonard, he's going to actually be going up against the right tackle right here. A right tackle is going to try to move up to that second level and block him. So one thing worth mentioning right off the bat is the respect that Leonard brings. You know, you're just going to have an offensive lineman straight up run up to block him. No double teams and then getting off the double team to block him. On this one, you're just moving someone up to that second level, trying to block him, even though it's a run not even in his direction. But of course, the disadvantage with a play like that is now the right tackle is going to have to move up to block Leonard, and he's going to have to move a pretty far distance. You know, it's going to be a run to the right side of the screen, and as you see, Leonard is already closer to the right side of the screen than the tackle who's in charge of blocking him. So for Leonard, it's going to once again come down to how quickly does he make this read. If he takes a second to realize, okay, it's going to be a run to the right side of the screen, that can allow the tackle to get in position to make a block on him. But notice how quickly he steps over to the right side of the screen. I mean, the second the ball is snapped, it's almost like he knew the play beforehand, and who knows, maybe he did. Maybe he figured out some sort of tell to realize it's going to be a run to the right side of the screen. That's totally possible. But it's also possible, and I would say even more probable by the way he does it so frequently, that he just quickly realized what's going on and was able to step to the right side of the screen, and as you see right now with the tackle trying to block him, it's just not a good position for him. Leonard's faster, he's able to just outrun him and actually get into this play and help make the tackle. I mean, that's a good play by Leonard right there. I mean, there's a reason he was able to become a first-team All-Pro as a rookie. That's not easy to do. Also pretty impressive that he wasn't the only Indianapolis Colt who did that. There was also Quentin Nelson, of course, being an All-Pro as a rookie. Pretty crazy. But of course, it's not just the running game that a linebacker is important in. I mean, there's plenty of linebackers who are great in the running game, but kind of struggle in passing, which is kind of a problem. But Leonard is not that type of guy. He's a very talented player. He can do it all, and I'll show you what I mean with this play. Indianapolis is going to be showing blitz, but they will not be blitzing here, and actually actually a little bit creatively. They're going to be running a cover 4 zone, which is a little bit of an interesting play call considering the fact that this is a 3rd down and 7 situation. So typically teams will just run like a cover 2 or a cover 3, just try to get as many players in the middle of the field as possible to try to prevent, them getting 7 yards. You don't want that to happen. But for Indianapolis, they feel like they just want to make sure they can take anything away deep, and they trust their 3 players who will be in the middle of the field, one of which is Darius Leonard, to be able to make a play if they have to. And it actually makes some sense. This is kind of the chess match situation going on, because for Tennessee, they're going to have one of their receivers just run a go route right over there, and they'll have another receiver run an out route, and this is actually a cover 2 killer. Just think about it. If instead of having 2 Colts right in that area, if there was only 1 Colt in that area, well, he could only choose to cover one of the Tennessee Titans, who would also be in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. So therefore, Marcus Mariota could simply just throw it to whichever one he felt was the most open, and they could pick up some yards. But since Indianapolis is kind of one step ahead on this play, this now means that they won't really have to worry about that too much, because they will have 2 Colts in that area, one can cover each of those Titans, and they're kind of safe. But one key thing to notice about it is that this route actually will still be open for a period of time. Kind of. A route like this will kind of be open in between the linebackers and the players who are playing deep. There's a split second where Mariota could make a throw if the Colts aren't careful, and so really, Leonard is the guy who's going to have to make sure that these routes don't work. At the beginning portion, he is going to have to make sure he's clogging up the passing lanes over there, and notice how he is going to be able to do this. He quickly steps back and just gets in the way of that receiver who's deep, so now Mariota could not make this throw. He just can't. First off, it was just a good play call by Indianapolis. They were thinking one step ahead, so give them credit. But also, it was good execution by Darius Leonard right there to guarantee that that receiver just wasn't going to be open at the beginning portion of that play. But worth mentioning, the play is not over. There's also a receiver that's going to be underneath Leonard, and that's where Mariota is going to hit, just because, hey, might as well try to hit a receiver, see if he can break a tackle or something and pick up the first down. But then Leonard, despite being a little bit deep to cover up that first receiver, is still able to run up forward and guarantee a 4th down there. Again, it's all positioning. That's all a linebacker's job is, really. You have to be a good tackler, obviously, but if you can just stay in position, you're going to be alright. That's the hard part. The tackling part is easy. If you're in the NFL, you can tackle, except for, some guys, but for the most part, you can tackle if you're in the NFL. It's the actual positioning that's the hard part. And one of the real difficult ways to be in position is just with play action, because you don't know if it's going to be a run or a pass, and that can create some real problems for you. But Leonard can be good against play action, and I'll show you what I mean with this play, where it is going to be play action to the bottom half of the screen, and for Tennessee, they'll just have a tight end just simply run that route right there. And so for Leonard, who's right there right now, this now means that he is the guy who essentially Tennessee is trying to pick on this play. They're trying to get him out of position with the play action, and then throw it over the top of them to the tight end. That's the way this play could potentially work. But after the ball is snapped, one thing you'll notice is that Leonard, he does take a couple steps in because he doesn't know if it's going to be a run or a pass. You do have to take a couple of steps in if it's play action or a run. The last thing you want to do is be 5 to 7 yards away from the line of scrimmage and then realize the halfback has the ball at the line of scrimmage, because then you've just given up a big run. But if you notice, he's also doing a tremendous job of still staying in the way of that Tennessee Titan who's going over him. As you see, this is still such a difficult throw for Mariota to make. There's no reason he should try to make it. He just can't. Watch how he's just going to step back and just make sure that he's covering up that tight end. Just a really good play by Leonard, really good aware play, and that's what allowed him to make sure that that play wasn't going to be completed. Mariota had to look somewhere else simply because Leonard did his part on that one. A lot of lesser linebackers would have fallen for the play action, especially since Tennessee is a team that likes to run the ball a lot, and then they could have just easily completed a pass downfield. So that's kind of what makes Leonard so great, and that's what you really want to have if you are a football team, is having a linebacker who plays like that. And maybe my favorite play that he had against Tennessee was this one, where that's where he is on the screen, and he will be dropping back into coverage here. And so if you're a close viewer, you might be thinking, wait a second, why am I showing this angle if he's dropping back into coverage? Shouldn't I show the other angle? But there's a reason for it, and just bear with me for a second. After the ball is snapped, he does a good job of taking a couple steps back, he's in coverage, but also worth mentioning, he's keeping an eye on Mariota. He knows Mariota likes to run the ball, so that's also part of his responsibilities, is making sure Mariota doesn't run the ball in any direction. And also one thing you will notice is that in between the Tennessee Titans center and left guard, there's a gap where Mariota could potentially try to run it through. So Mariota is going to say, well, hey, maybe I'll consider that for a second, but one thing you'll notice is that the second he takes a step there, Leonard is already also going to take a step there, and he gets there so quickly, he's able to get a sack out of it. That's just And really, it's insane on a couple of levels. For one thing, just that quick reaction time of the second he sees Mariota take a step, he's rushing forward and trying to make a play. But also it's impressive just that he has the physical ability to get there so quickly. He's really a complete player, you know. He has the speed, he has the intelligence, and he's a great tackler as well. He's just a complete linebacker in every single way. But yeah, that's what I thought of Darius Leonard. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks for watching.